Hey everybody, it's Josh again. Um, how are y'all doing? Okay. Um, as you notice, hopefully, the title is different. Um, I have a few updates I want to do before I go into this lesson, and those updates are that I will not be accepting game analysis anymore. I'm sorry, I really enjoyed it, but I had a discussion with my chess coach about it, International Master John Bartholomew. I recommend him. He is an awesome coach. He is great. If you really want to get better and pay a coach, then I really recommend him. His coach profile is in the description. But he recommended that I study my own games better. That would be better for my own improvement because these videos are not just for your improvement, the watchers, but also for my improvement. So I hope you um, still enjoy my videos. I hope they will still be instructive and entertaining for those of you that like chess videos. Um, I also recently invested in the chess.com Diamond membership. I've already tried out Chess Mentor and the chess videos. They are great. If you want to improve your chess with something like this, then then I really recommend chess.com's Diamond membership, $99 a year. So, um, anyway, this this topic is about blindfold games. Now, um, I'm sure you've heard of blindfold games. That's where one or both members of the game don't look at the board. They just do it all in their heads, and that may seem a bit too much, but beginners can actually do this too. And the way that beginners would do this is a variant that I made of Blindfold Chess, which I've heard that it may have been started in other places, but it's something that I came up with and I thought would be good for beginners and even club level players who can't do blindfold because that is a difficult thing to play an entire game blindfold. And this variant is called semi-blindfold chess. And what it is optional at the beginning. You get the starting position. So for the first 10 moves. So for the first 10 moves, I could look at this position, not moving any pieces, just looking at it, trying to play out all the moves in my head. The second, um, the second thing is that every 10 moves you get what I call a checkpoint. So say after 10 moves, then you get the position, and then you can look at that position without moving any of the pieces for the next 10 moves and until the next checkpoint, which is 10 moves later. It can be moved around to maybe 5 moves or longer, 15 moves, whatever you want to do. 10 moves is what I found to be the best. And this isn't downgrading the good the goodness of the blindfold games because it's not really a competitive game. It's more to increase your calculation abilities. And you might think the semi-blindfold takes away from that since you have a starting position, but I think it's just as good, if not better, because calculating entire game, it's very hard and um, at least for me, it's impossible at this level. And so this is a way to do it somewhat easily, and still calculating 10 moves in your head is still fairly difficult. Um, so I've yeah, as I was saying, it's hard to go really long. The longest I have gone um, in a blindfold game without using a checkpoint is 22 moves. But I was playing both sides in that game. The longest I've gone um, is um, against an opponent is 18 moves, which I did against Fritz. Fritz was on a handicap. Um, the only thing I had missed was that I could take one of his rooks because like he was on a handicap, but I missed that. I just started for move one and played until I couldn't play any longer, and I reached 18 and I couldn't calculate past that. So the game that we're gonna do is the first game in a blindfold. It's not really similar. The way I play blindfold is in the chess.com forums. I make a forum and then we say the moves. But the only disadvantage with this doing it online is that you can cheat looking at a board and no one will ever know. And people raise this question with me about semi-blindfold, but my reply is just, as I said before, this isn't a competition. It's to increase your calculation, and if you cheat, I mean, sure you get the pride of winning, but your opponent was on a handicap, and it doesn't really do anything good for you. It doesn't increase your own calculation, so you're just hurting yourself by doing that. That's why we all trust each other doing this. So this is the first board of I put on chess.com. I'm open to any blindfold challenges. I still am. I've got 4 games. I've had 4 challenges. This is the first game to finish and also the first game to start. The other games are still going right now. But I thought we would go over this as it's the first complete game I played against someone else using this method, and I thought it would be a good game. So I was playing black, so I go ahead and flip the board. My opponent was Jet Fighter 13, a friend of mine on chess.com. So he played e4. Now here, I want to go over openings real fast for blindfold. If you want to make it easy, then probably for white, then e4 leads to tactical, but then you see your alternative d4 can lead to more complicated positions, and then the other 2 alternatives, c4 and knight f3, those lead to the flank games, which I personally don't play very often, so I want to be able to visualize that as well since I'm not familiar with the positions. But as black here, the easiest move to play would be d5, the Scandinavian, trying to get into a simple game, easy for blindfold. I recommend that for at first, when you're first starting, but try to steer into the lines that are harder to calculate like this game did. So I played e5. This is my normal move. I've also ventured c5 before in normal games, but in blindfold I was going to stick with positions that I knew better. So knight f3, knight to c6, bc4. Knowing the nature of my opponent, I knew he would play bishop to c4. Usually, when this comes up, I play this line, where I like this. I like this as black. I'm perfectly comfortable, because we have this, then takes. Alright, and now here's where options diverge for black. This, and then we have takes, takes. This is the famous fried liver attack. This is one of the reasons black doesn't usually take immediately with the pawn. It's iffy, but one of my favorite games actually took place with this. But we won't go into that right now. So, okay. Wait, I'm sorry. Alright, so knight f6. So, but what I play here, no. Okay, yeah, we were going over the alternatives. So, knight xd5 is interesting. Also, knight a5 is the main line. However, usually the knight ends up misplaced here, which you can see how. So the move I play is b5. This is the famous Ovested variation, and the reason I like this line is because the best move is this weird move, bishop to f1, which you can see that looks odd. Black can't get overambitious with taking at this point in time, maybe later, but I think this is more common, but most people don't even know this line, and so usually they'll take this, which you'd never play hope chess. You never hope for your opponent to make a mistake. You always make sure that it's good for you. But in this position, it's still pretty good for black after bishop f1. But this is the more common variation. We go here, And then this is a lot better for black. His development's good. This knight is gonna have to move back at some point. This you don't want to trade off this bishop. This is just this is pretty good for black. So that's why I usually venture knight f6. Um, of course, the quieter d3 can be played, which leads to quiet positions that I've played quite a bit. But in this game, I knew my opponent, and I knew that he likes gambits, jet fighter. I know you like your gambits, so um, I knew what he would play if I played this move, bishop to c5, which is the main line. It's more common than knight to f6, and from this point, there's a number of options. c3 is the classical, that's the main line, but we also have the Evans Gambit, which is what's played in the game. The game I mentioned earlier where I was playing both sides, that I played 22 moves, it was actually, I had a checkpoint after the first 10 moves, and then after that I played 22 more moves, um, and it wasn't a draw. I think white won that game. But I have some familiarity with the Evans Gambit in Blindfold Chess. So I went here, c3, bishop to a5, and then we have castle. Um, Now my opponent, he likes gambits, but he usually plays the King's Gambit, e4, e5, f4. So he probably doesn't know these lines well. But normal here, surprisingly, is actually d4. And I know that's surprising, but that's the main move right there. Which we're not going to go into this opening theory right now. After takes, castle. If black takes, black is in dire need of development right now. This is good for white. Yeah, this is good for white. Black should not take this extra pawn here, but if he does, which is what Jet Fighter was afraid of. So he just went ahead to play the safe move, castling. So this position calls for more dynamic play than he did, but that's alright. So I played knight to f6 attacking the pawn, and he played queen to e2. In the game I mentioned earlier where I went 22 moves blindfolded, I played queen to c2 because I myself had my own reservations about the weaknesses of the c3 pawn at that time. I didn't know the lines well. So I would play queen to c2. Queen e2 is probably... I still like queen to c2 better, but d4 still should be played after knight f6. This opening requires dynamic swashbuckling play, which is the main term used in the Evans Gambit, swashbuckling. But Jet Fighter continues to play safely. So I just simply castle, and then d4 should be played here. Bishop a3 attacking my rook was played, getting some more development. Alright, and things were starting to get a bit difficult to calculate here. I played this, and he played rook to d1. He's still playing too safely. He wants to play d4 with no consequences, but he really needs to just play it immediately, because this is giving me time to consolidate myself. So I played d6, solid move, ready to develop my c8 bishop, and now my development problems are pretty much gone. And then with the last move, he plays d4, which makes it easy on me to make the last move before the checkpoint ex d4. So this is the first checkpoint. Now we both have this position to look at, and for the next 10 moves. So it's an interesting position. Some complications, very interesting to play, especially in blindfold chess. One thing I have noticed is that the second 10 moves in semi-blindfold is always the hardest. The first 10, since it starts with the opening, the first 5 are pretty easy, then after that it gets a bit tough. Then you get the checkpoint, and then after that the next 3 to 4 are somewhat easy since you have the position, but then when you get to the next, say, 6 to 10, in the second 10 moves, then it gets pretty hard. And so we're entering the hardest phase of the blindfold game. After you reach the 20 move mark and the second checkpoint, then it tends to get easier because by that time the end game has come. Most of the time. Sometimes the end game isn't there by then. So he plays knight to g5, having the position to calculate, threatening my pawn. At this point, my only move, which I feel was pretty strong, is the d5. The e-pawn cannot take because of the pin on the queen. And then, of course, if the bishop doesn't want to trade, because after this it's still good for black, who's also targeting this pawn again. Probably have to exchange here, and I don't know. It's pretty complicated, hard to calculate blindfold. He played the bishop to b3. I think that's the best move, pretty much the only move there. I play h6, giving the knight a kickback since he doesn't have any threats. So knight to f6, and then I play rook takes e4. At this point, I was starting to like my position. I had some good activity in the center. All my pieces are developed, have good squares. I'm liking this for me. So queen to c2 was played, and then I took, he took, I took, he took. Alright, I went ahead and made the pin on the knight. We're now on move 17, so this is where things started to get harder to calculate. So bishop b2 was made. Okay. Yeah, as Friss is showing me, at this point my d5 pawn is hanging, which I haven't seen that until just now. Yeah. So I took here. He would, yeah, he has to retake, which he did. So the d5 pawn never really got taken. I played back. All right, now this is the point where taking the pawn is good. Which this is move 18, so both of us are getting tired. But if he had played this, I can't go here because of the mate on g7. I can't go here because that drops my queen. So he basically just wins a pawn for nothing. So this is good for white. Here it's two knights versus two bishops, but the thing is, black is still up two pawns. So since I dropped the pawn and my position's a little uncomfortable, I still am up material. So I just need to try to keep my material in this position and not lose. So he took my knight, bishop f6. I took, and with this series of exchanges, it made it easy for me to get to the next checkpoint. I was starting to lose my grip on the position, but he just made the series of exchanges, made it easier for me. So now with the second checkpoint, I am up 3 pawns, but the d5 pawn is hanging, so in reality I'm up 2 pawns, but I'm in a winning position, and I was pretty happy at this point, even though my pawns are doubled. So he took with the rook. I moved my rook here. He's attacking mine. Here. Now at this point, knight to d4 is the move I like, but I did not play that. I played knight to a5, which, yeah, either one's alright. I mainly just wanted to trade down into a winning endgame. So takes, rook e5. Here I did not notice that my a7 pawn was hanging. So, oh dang it. So after we have takes, then the rook takes on a7, and now I am up only 1 pawn. So what I need to try to do is hold the king side and try to create a pass pawn out of these two, and then promote. So I played here attacking his pawn. Okay, in this position I feel pretty good still. I'm up a pawn and his rook is passive. So I moved here. Okay. Alright, at this point he offered a draw just when we made it to the next checkpoint. I accepted because of this continuation where he's attacking my rook and the pawn still falls. But this is what I had calculated, but I did not see that after rook b6, king takes, I go here, and this position's iffy. I'm not quite sure, actually. It looks to me like after the king comes here, I come here, check, here, here, here. I'm not sure if I can get this pawn to promote. Okay, sorry about that. So this position's, I'm actually not quite sure about this. Why don't we turn on Fritz after? Alright, this looks pretty forced. Alright, these all look like the best moves. Why don't we turn on my chess engine and see. Alright, so Houdini's calculating that it's -20, so he's winning, but I'm not. It doesn't look like he's saying I have a real win. Let's see if I can get into play without messing up my board. Okay. Okay. So I'm gonna have him play some. Yeah, it looks to me like white manages to draw here. So I don't know. I guess it looks like a good way. Let's see. Sorry, running Houdini on my computer slows it down a lot. Wait a second. Okay. So we come back. Let's come back to. Okay. Yeah, Houdini is saying all throughout here that black has a slight advantage, but nothing winning. Alright, here it's saying I'm up a pawn, which I am. But after giving up this pawn, okay, it still says I'm half up, so I guess I have winning chances, but I don't know. It looks like this game's pretty drawn. So anyway, that was a good game, Jed. Thank you for it. That was fun to play. So I hope you enjoyed this. Blindfold is pretty fun. Semi-blindfold is fun. So I suggest you try it out sometime. Increase your calculation skills. I'm always on chess.com. You can always message me. My profile's in the description as usual. And you can message me. Okay. One last note. I appreciate constructive criticism on my videos. Give me some advice, help me improve as a video maker. But please no rude comments. Rude comments will be ignored. I hate to say that I'm going to ignore you, but I don't want rude comments and people throwing rocks at each other. So, thanks for watching. I'm thinking about starting a new series on the art of sacrifice based off of a paper I wrote a while back on different kinds of sacrifices and a few interesting examples from master games and even from a couple of my own games. So, hope you have a good day. Hope you enjoyed this analysis, and I'll see you next time. So, bye.